At the Afterlife bar in Night City, they named drinks after mercs who died on the job. The drinks are for the ones who left their mark on the city, big enough that the city's still talking. But these are also always the ones who didn't come home. Johnny Silverhand has one. He nuked Arasaka Tower in 2023, spent the next 50 years as a ghost on a biochip, yet Night City still puts his face on t-shirts. My favorite character, Jackie Wells, has one too, but only after he bled out in the back of a cab on what was supposed to be the job that changed everything. David Martinez, the protagonist from Edgerunners, has one as well. He had a chrome tolerance that was 1 in a million. Using that, he pushed himself until he had nothing left to push with. His story ended with Adam Smasher doing his job. A drink on that menu is the city's version of a monument. You earn it by going out spectacularly.
Told you I'd end you someday.
Victor Vector doesn't have a drink. We'll look at why that is and why that's a good thing. But first, I want to dive into the afterlife and the legends a bit more. The afterlife is a converted morgue. Whoever named it understood exactly what kind of place Night City needed. Call the drinks what they are, a ledger. Night City keeping score in dead heroes, and the afterlife is where the tally lives. And when you start looking at who's actually on that menu, who Night City remembers, a pattern shows up pretty fast. Rogue, best fixer in the city. She's the queen of the afterlife for decades. She dies in the Arasaka ending, storming the tower in her 70s to help a friend. Morgan Blackhand, known as the greatest solo in Night City's history, the man they called the Shadow of Night City. Yet, he disappeared into myth. Nobody knows for certain if he's alive. The ambiguity is part of the legend. You become unforgettable partly by becoming unknowable. And then, there's Alt Cunningham. She created Soul Killer, the program that can rip a human consciousness out of a body and store it digitally. She was the first person to exist purely as data beyond the Black Wall. She's been gone for decades. Night City still talks about her like she's watching, probably because she is from the other side. Every person on that menu traded something enormous to get there. Their time, their freedom, and ultimately their life. Night City calls that legend. I'm not sure it is. You probably have your own version of that menu. The metric that tells you whether your life is one for the books. The thing you check to know if it was worth it. Victor Vector runs a Ripper Doc clinic in a basement on Ermland Street in Little China. It's underneath Misty's Esoterica, down a flight of stairs that most people in Night City walk past and probably never even think about. Many of us don't ever notice, but he's got cauliflower ears, accompanied by his boxing tattoos from years in the ring. A runner-up trophy sits on the shelf. Interestingly, it's not hidden, but it's not displayed like a trophy either. Yet he keeps it. He's unique because he uses a surgical exoglove instead of a chrome hand. In a city where everyone's upgrading, Vic stayed mostly organic. The in-game database describes him as one of the living legends of Night City, and then it adds something that I keep coming back to. Quote, a fact he's been trying to get people to forget for years. He's actively trying to not be remembered as a legend. There's a moment in the game where he talks about this. Check it out.
I used to live in a world where all that mattered was who's who, what's what, and how's why.
And what happened?
One day I just dropped it and never looked back. I'll never be a legend in this town, but been sleeping nights ever since.
When you first meet him, before the story really starts, Vic hooks you up and installs 21,000 eddies worth of cyberware on your credit. He doesn't say it, but the way he acts with V, he seems to see it as an investment.
Lights out for a minute, all right?
In Night City, where corporations will harvest your organs for defaulting on a payment plan, that word investment hits differently. The entire economy runs on leverage. Every favor has a price attached. That's the design. And Vic just extends a 21K investment with no paperwork. Vic used to be a heavyweight fighter, the Night City Devils. He competed in the Watson Boxing Grand Prix without cybernetic enhancements, in a sport where almost everyone else had them. Despite that, he finished second. There's a theory that he threw the championship fight to fund medical school. I can't confirm that, but he kept the runner-up trophy. He kept it. No explanation offered. The story happened, and he let it be part of him. He left boxing, and if the trauma team logo on his surgical tool pocket means what a lot of fans think it means, he left trauma medicine too. 2 careers that could have made him somebody, at least in the way Night City defines somebody. Yet, he walked away from both. Then he opened the basement clinic. And there's one character who immediately comes to mind when I think about the opposite path. Dexter Deshawn. Vic even warns you about him. I think Vic says it best, so I'll let you hear exactly what he says.
Keep your guard up, that's all. I've heard some things about Dex. He's not as chill as he makes himself out to be.
Dex is a fixer with real reputation. He's always talking about building towards something quieter. The score that will finally let him step back, breathe, and live the life he keeps saying that he wants. He talks about the quiet life, like it's an exit plan. And I think a lot of us do that. We run the calculation. What does the number in my bank account need to hit before I'll spend more time with the kids? What does my job title need to be before I stop working 12+ hour days? We treat the life we actually want like a destination we have to earn. Vic just lives it. Dex dies within the first few hours of the main story. Night City catches up to everyone who's still reaching for something. I want to circle back to that investment from Vic because I don't think it's a small detail. Night City runs on what you can extract from someone who needs something from you. The game built its entire economy around that principle. Every transaction has leverage baked in. Vic gives you 21,000 eddies worth of work and hardware. When you come back later to pay him, and you do because the game gives you the option, he tries to refuse it. He doesn't want the money back. He already considered it spent. Think about what that means in a place where corporations will harvest your organs for defaulting on a payment plan. In Night City, the most radical thing Victor Vector does might not be the surgeries or the boxing or any of the dramatic stuff. It might be that. Extending grace without conditions. Alright, there's one more piece to Vic that I want to talk about. And it's the one that hit me the hardest with Vic when I finished my first Cyberpunk playthrough. Cyberpunk has many endings. They're each unique in very cool ways. In one, V escapes Night City entirely. In another, he dies. In one, Johnny Silverhand takes over the body permanently. Victor Vector calls and leaves a voicemail for V in every single one. Johnny gets a song, Rogue gets a memorial, Jackie gets an ofrenda with candles and photos and the people who loved him. Vic leaves voicemails. In the Sun ending, where V goes to space, Vic calls and asks if the Earth looks beautiful from up there. He says he hopes you come back. In the ending I first chose, the one where V takes matters into his own hands, Vic says that he should have done more.
So V, how's the real afterlife looking? It as nice as they say. 'Cause down here, it's still shit. Hell, might even be worse than before. Just wish I had done more. So things might have come out different.
Positive energy, Victor.
I'm gonna miss you, kid.
That one really hit home for me, given my state of mind at the time. Vic is not spectacular, like Night City defines it. He doesn't go out in a blaze. In a game built around the mythology of going out in spectacular fashion, Vic's constancy is the thing that doesn't fit anywhere. And then there's the tower ending. If V interfaces with the AI called Songbird and lets her upload him to orbit, V wakes up 2 years later, in 2079. Night City moved on. Misty's shop is gone. Vic's clinic got absorbed into a corp called Zeta Tech. Vic is still in Night City though, the last person from V's old life who stayed. And he tells you something important. You can't use combat cyberware anymore. The body rejected the interface. You're ordinary now. The game turns you into Vic. Strips the chrome, removes the legend trajectory, leaves you with just a person in a city, trying to figure out what comes next. I don't think that's by accident. The afterlife doesn't have a Victor Vector drink because he's alive. Because he chose the basement clinic over the championship. Because he extended grace in a city that runs on extraction. Because he kept calling, kept showing up, long after everyone who went out spectacularly was already on the menu. Night City doesn't have a story for someone like that. There's no mythology for the person who just keeps helping people. Someone who never gives up on the people he cares about. And I think about how much of what we do is shaped by that same absence. The things that don't make a good story don't feel like they count. The job that isn't a calling, just a job you do well. The friendship you've maintained for 15 years through nothing more dramatic than showing up. The decision to stay in one place, build something small, and use it to build others up. Nobody names a drink after that. Vic lent 21,000 eddies to a mercenary he believed in, with no collateral and no contract. But you might know the feeling of having someone extend a helping hand to you. They gave their time, trust, a second chance. To someone who perhaps didn't have a clean track record. The math might not have worked, but they did it anyway, because they thought you were worth it. He kept the runner-up trophy, not to mourn the championship he didn't win, just because it was part of the story and he didn't need to hide it. There's probably something in your life like that, something that didn't end the way you wanted, that you've made peace with. He left voicemails in every ending. There was no reward for him there, no money. You probably know someone who does that for you. You might even be that person for someone else without thinking of it as anything significant. Everything, the 2 a.m. surgery, the voicemail nobody asked for, the investment in V. Vic's whole life is built from things that don't translate to legend, and that's exactly what makes it hold together. We talk a lot about legacy, about impact, what we'll leave behind. And I'm not saying that conversation doesn't matter, but to me, the afterlife menu is a warning, not an aspiration. Every drink on it is someone who burned through their life for a moment that was at best unforgettable. Look, be a legend if that's in you. If you're built for that kind of burning, go ahead and burn. I'm not here to tell anyone that ambition is wrong, but if you're tired, if you've been running Dex's calculations for a while now, figuring out what the threshold is, what you're building toward, when you'll finally get to live the way you actually want to live, maybe the thing worth looking at is the guy who already made the other choice. He's in a basement in Little China, living a quiet life where he plays a supporting role to those he cares deeply about. In Night City can't touch him. So I say, be like Vic.